welcome to another edition of Value My Vote, one-on-one with the candidates. And we're here with 10th District City Council Independent, Mr. Adam Van Bavel. How you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing, Hassan?
I'm just right.
Thank you for having me here today.
Not a problem. Thanks for coming on. Now, just to kind of start off, we're going to give a little background of you.
Sure.
You've had your eye on the seat for a minute in the 10th District.
I have.
You're not taking the usual route in the Democratic primary. You are an independent.
I am.
So you have to garner enough signatures by the filing deadline, and then you will be on the ballot facing whoever comes out of the Democratic primary September 13th on November 8th.
Correct.
Why did you take that route, and why are you running for the 10th District City Council now?
You know, my decision to run for City Council, when I purchased my home, I live in Pigtown, and I've always been very oriented in community service. You know, and I feel like that has a close correlation to constituent services, just dealing with your community, making an impact. Moved into Pigtown. I've been on every board there. I've been the director of the Pigtown Festival, and it was just natural progression to do something larger, to help better Baltimore City, to help better District 10, my neighborhood. I decided to run independent. You know, growing up, I was a Democrat just because that's what my parents were. And once I started to create my own values and my own goals in life, I really became tired with the politics of today, especially locally. My tagline is, I believe in the idea of people, not parties. And I think a lot of people in society today, whether they're independent, Republican, Democrat, they can associate with that. And they're also tired of the status quo. And I feel like to be able to have an independent in City Hall, you know, people say what they say every year at election time. They say what they need to say to get elected and to get into office. And, you know, a lot of people do a good job, but a lot of people get in there and they're just complacent. I feel like if a true independent that's actually running as an independent in advance gets into office, that's just a great opportunity to make some real change, to just throw a wrench in the spokes, say, whoa, let's, you know, take a step back, look at what's going on, and have the people behind that candidate. And right now, that's me. And you know, I had a lot of people say, well, Adam, why aren't you running as a Democrat? And I'm a principle-oriented guy. And that's just not what I wanted to do. When I switched over to an independent, you know, obviously last year for the gubernatorial, the independent party actually lost its true affiliation in Maryland. Now it's independent other. And people were saying, oh, well, you have the chance now. You can go and be a Democrat, just switch up. But, you know, I don't take the easy way, and that's not what I believe in. What I believe in is people, community service, constituent services, and working with the people, and that's where my independent mindset comes from.
Well, that's a good principle value as well, and we definitely, I'm sure the voters of the 10th will appreciate that. What are you running for? What is your platform and agenda for the 10th District?
Some of the main issues that I'm focusing on are education. You know, obviously we have a lot of great charter schools out there, improving the level of curriculum within the city schools, making sure the funding stays fully funded. I know this year was a big issue. It was definitely in question. I was down in Annapolis making sure that we were fully funded throughout Baltimore City schools. And everything within my mindset is innovation, you know, being progressive. There's a lot of opportunity now. There's a great Southwest Baltimore charter school. They've got, you know, kids coming out on Saturdays, working with the community. It helps strengthen the ties in the community. It really helps the kids relate back, meet adults, get good morals in their lives. I'd love to see more programs either expanded on or created where city services are integrated within the curriculum so the kids can actually get out and get an education outside of school where they're getting educated in life and they're learning how to, because everything starts with the youth, you know. I mean, education, you say it and you think solely school, you know, and it goes above and beyond that. It's a life experience, it's being a mentor, it's connecting kids in the community with the adults there, just making a good impression. So education is one of them. Housing, huge issue. You've got, you know, the Vacancy to Value program now. I'd love to see that expanded on and make sure that it's implemented properly. You know, if I was elected, love to have the opportunity to really take a look at that program, see what I can do to improve it. Dollar homes. You know, dollar homes work great, and I don't know why no one's brought that up. It seems like it was such a successful program, and it's just kind of taken a back seat. I can imagine it's because it doesn't really benefit developers. It's more of the individual who's committed to the neighborhood he buys in, and that's what I think is going to help improve Baltimore. outside of that, vacant homes also, you've got a big impact. Even you can relate it to the Baltimore City Fire Department. You've got these homes that are vacant, people break in, they end up burning down. There's a case of an elderly woman in Pigtown where she had no family. She'd lived there for her whole life. The house next to her was vacant. Someone broke in, someone was squatting in there, burnt down. This woman was in her 80s, lost her home. Where does she go? So it doesn't just impact the vacant homes across the city, and that's a huge issue citywide, obviously, not just in District 10. But it impacts residents. It's the broken window syndrome. You've got a community that's trying its best to make a difference, to improve the quality of life. And when you've got all these vacants, a window breaks. That suddenly turns into the windows being boarded up and then people squatting on them. And then, the end result, unfortunately, sometimes the house either being condemned and collapsing or catching on fire. So housing is a huge issue for me. Outside of that, business. I live in Pigtown. We just had MC Dean come in. I don't know if you know, by Ostend Street. It pretty much bought up a whole block, did a tremendous job, renovating that building using historic components and green components. But we have about a 15% vacancy rate in Baltimore City, which is unacceptable. When you consider where we are, we're sitting right now, there's 95, 295 right there. We're so close to DC. We've got, University of Maryland Biopark right there. We could be stealing residents, we could be stealing business, and we're not. And to me, that's unacceptable. We've got incubators in the city that can help entrepreneurs kickstart business. We've got the Main Street program that's run through the state, and then locally, you've got, Pigtown Main Street, Federal Hill Main Street, Hamden Main Street, these Main Street programs that help support local business. Need to be supporting them as much as possible to get the business here, get residents moving here. And lastly, one of my biggest focus points, city services. As far as 301 goes, as far as the fire department not being fully funded, bulk trash, just reporting like nuisance abatement houses, which are an issue. We're just now starting to see progress with that, and there's actually a hearing coming up, I believe, early in June about that I encourage the public to attend, because if you have any houses in your community, they're an issue that you've reported to the police, to the housing department, to state's attorney's office. This is a meeting you can't miss, because this is a meeting where we'll have the opportunity to speak, to come together as the public voice in front of City Council, in front of City Hall, and say, we've got this program in place, it's not being utilized. How are we going to take what's already there for us to use and actually put it to use? We've seen a couple houses recently in Pigtown have some action taken. That's been great. There's a couple court dates that have been set, a couple houses that have been evicted through, prostitution, violence occurring there, drugs being sold out of the home. So those are kind of education, housing, business, city services. City services too, one of the big things, obviously, last June, 9% increase in the water bill rate. Just had another water bill increase approved. One thing I'd love to point out, I was at one of the protests at City Hall a few months back. There is one property that was owned by the city. It's an apartment building. I think it's 357 units, on average around a $40,000 water bill. They got a bill, I think it was in January, it was a few months ago. The bill was for $480,000. It's a $440,000 increase. City didn't question it. They paid the bill. Now, when you're looking at that one instance in 1 month, and you think about how often that happens to residents, to businesses across the city, and they're looking to increase the rate, there's no need for that. You need a better system in place. You need accountability. And you can say that across the board for, a lot of city services. There's lack of accountability, they're inefficient, they're a money drain. So those are things that I'm primarily focused on. There's other things, animal advocacy, term limits, the environment. Obviously, we have a great opportunity with a lot of the businesses in Baltimore to improve on the environment. We're sitting out here today. This is the Middle Branch Park. We've got the Gwynns Falls Trail right here.
Well, unfortunately, we can't get into all of them, but
right.
If they want to find out more about you and your candidacy and what you want to get involved in, how can the voters get in contact with you?
I'm very accessible. You can go to my website. It's www.avb4bcc, so it's avbforbcc.com, and that's Adam Van Bavel for Baltimore City Council. That's what it stands for. My cell phone number's out there, my email's out there, my social media, if you use Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, you know, YouTube. I'm out there, every available outlet. You know, feel free to send me a message, give me a call. I'll meet anyone, anywhere, anytime, because that's what's going to get me elected, and that's what's going to make a better Baltimore, is meeting with the people, seeing what the real issues are, getting out and just hearing people and being a great liaison for them, being a great representative in office for them.
Well, Adam Van Beagle, we thank you for your time. Thank you for
Can
your
I mention
candidacy.
one more thing that is a huge factor for me? For those of you who don't know me, and I don't have much of a political background, I was voted last year in the City Paper Readers Poll as the best do-gooder, along with other namesakes in Baltimore City that the people know. So if you do some research on me, it's not like I'm just coming out in this election saying I want to run, make an impact. I've been doing this for years. I've been serving the community, looking to make Maryland better, looking to make Baltimore better, and now I'm going to make Baltimore City and District 10 better. So please remember November 8th, AVB for BCC.
Thank you so much for your
time. Thank you.
Wish
I appreciate it, man.
And we'll be back with more Value My Vote.
Thanks.